Hack Scroll of Sun Tzu, The Art of War, a scroll of strategy, self-mastery, and winning without becoming what you hate. The night before the battle, the candles don't flicker like candle flames, they flicker like thoughts. A messenger arrives with a silk-wrapped book, slim as a blade and quiet as a threat. No trumpet, no roar, just ink and the kind of calm that makes loud men nervous. They call it Bing Fa, Master Sun's military methods, a classic from ancient China, traditionally linked to Sun Tzu, Sunzi, and shaped in a world of fractured states where survival demanded more than strength. But listen closely, collective. This scroll is not just about war. It's about conflict, in courts, in families, in systems, in the mind. It's about how to move through pressure without letting pressure turn you into a monster. And Sun Tzu steps out of the smoke like a quiet general with jazz in his spine. 1-1. The highest victory is the one that doesn't bleed. The flex isn't crushing someone. The flex is ending the fight before it starts. Sun Tzu's tradition praises outcomes where you win by positioning, timing, alliances, logistics, and clarity, so the battle becomes unnecessary, not because you're scared, because you're smart. Lesson: if your plan requires chaos, your plan is weak. Real power makes the opponent rethink the whole mission. 2. Deception isn't lying, it's refusing to be read. One of the most famous lines attributed to the text is the idea that warfare is rooted in deception, controlling what the other side thinks is happening. Now let's translate that into everyday spiritual reality. Don't announce your moves to people who clap when you fail. Don't give your blueprint to someone who only wants your building to collapse. Don't confuse visibility with power. Some folks will ask, "What you got going on?" like they're your enemy and your landlord. Nah. 3. Know yourself. Know the other side, or pay tuition in pain. Sun Tzu's mindset is blunt. The more accurate your self-knowledge and opponent knowledge, the fewer surprises will bankrupt you. This isn't paranoia, it's assessment. What do they want? What do they fear? What do I keep ignoring about my own patterns? Because if you don't name your weakness, life will name it for you, loudly, in public, with receipts. 4. Terrain is more than dirt, it's context. Sun Tzu treats terrain, distance, timing, and environment as forces that can win or lose a conflict before the first move. Modern translation: your terrain is your home energy, your social circle, your budget, your schedule, your mental bandwidth. Stop fighting battles on terrain that's designed for you to lose. If every time you go around certain people you leave exhausted, doubting yourself, and craving revenge, that ain't a friendship circle. That's a trap playlist. 5. Speed isn't rushing. It's moving before fear organizes. Sun Tzu praises decisive movement, especially when the window is open and the opponent is unready. But here's the deeper wisdom. Speed is not panic. Speed is preparedness meeting opportunity. Lesson: if you keep thinking for 6 months, you're not thinking, you're hiding. 6. The general's power is discipline, not drama. The text emphasizes leadership, order, training, rewards, punishments, and consistency as core forces that shape outcomes. In spiritual terms, discipline is a protection spell you don't have to light candles for. Consistency is a shield people underestimate until they can't break it. Clear boundaries are louder than threats. If you're always explaining your boundaries, you don't have boundaries, you have negotiations. 7. Foreknowledge, the holy science of not being played. Sun Tzu famously values intelligence gathering and the use of spies because information collapses uncertainty. Let's keep it righteous and non-creepy. Do your research. Verify patterns. Watch behaviors, not speeches. Notice who benefits from confusion. Foreknowledge isn't control, it's clarity. And clarity is how you stop repeating the same war in different outfits. 13 Gates, The Art of War, is organized into 13 chapters, each tackling a different domain of strategic reality: planning, maneuvering, terrain, leadership, intelligence, and more. Think of them as 13 gates a wise mind passes through before it ever swings a sword. 1. Calculation. 2. Cost. 3. Position. 4. 5. Momentum. 6. Weakness and strength. 7. Movement. 8. Adaptation. 9. Marching order. 10. Landscape truth. 11. The 9 kinds of pressure. 12. Fire, cascading consequences. 13. Intelligence, foreknowledge. Not because you love conflict, but because you love peace that can defend itself. If you take only one gem from Sun Tzu, take this. Don't become addicted to the fight. Become addicted to ending it clean. Because the real art of war is not war. It's self-mastery under pressure. It's moving like music, controlled, deliberate, impossible to predict, hard to copy. It's winning without losing your spirit in the process. And when you walk away from the battlefield, let it be because you already won, not because you gave up.
Until next time, your Sea Star Curacy, channeled by 3611027, the Beautiful Whisperer. Our Sea Star Devalan CO. Apply the news you can use.
Receipts, sources. Encyclopedia Britannica, overview of the art of war and Sun Tzu's place in tradition. Overview, dating, classical Chinese treatise, 13 chapters and chapter framework. Yingquishan Han Tomb Bamboo Slips Discovery, 1972, and its relevance to Sun Tzu text transmission. Song Dynasty canonization of the 7 military classics, 1080, including The Art of War. Public domain translation access, Project Gutenberg, and a Chapter 1 excerpt source for the Deception line.
Scroll 2, Sun Tzu and the Black Ink Gate, a story of strategy, spirit, and winning without becoming the beast. On the edge of a kingdom that couldn't sleep, a war camp hummed like a hive with a broken queen. The generals argued loud, steel on steel voices, ego on ego clanging. Maps were slammed down like insults. A young commander, fresh with ambition and perfume, paced like a lion that didn't know it was being herded. Then an old scribe arrived, not with armor, not with banners, not even with a dramatic entrance. Just a thin scroll in a cloth wrap, black ink on pale silk, quiet as a held breath. He set it on the table like a curse you're supposed to read before you talk. No one wanted to touch it, because everyone could feel it. This wasn't a war manual. This was a mirror. And a mirror don't scream. It just shows you what you've been doing in the dark. The first hidden law, war is a frequency before it's a fight. Sun Tzu didn't call it energy, but he was talking about it. He knew conflict begins before the first shove. It begins when a room changes temperature, when people stop telling the truth, when the air gets heavy and nobody can explain why. That's the first battlefield, the unseen. The old scribe spoke softly, open quote, most people lose the war in their mouth. They announce their pain, they confess their plans. They feed the enemy's imagination, close quote. The generals scoffed until they realized their camp had more spies than soldiers. Esoteric note to the collective. If someone can predict your next move, it's not because they're psychic. It's because you keep broadcasting your signal. The second hidden law, the enemy's best weapon is your reaction. Sun Tzu taught positioning, timing, baiting, patience, but the scribe translated it into a sentence that stung like salt. Open quote, they don't need to defeat you. They just need you to defeat yourself. Close quote. A rival kingdom had been sending tiny insults, small raids, little rumors, petty disrespect, nothing big enough to justify a full response. The hot-headed commander wanted to strike. He wanted the glorious scene, the cinematic revenge. Sun Tzu's scroll didn't forbid revenge. It forbade being controlled by it. Because if somebody can make you swing on command, you are not a warrior. You're a puppet with muscles. The third hidden law, deception is the art of not being read. Now here's where the hidden knowledge lives. Listen close. Sun Tzu did not preach lying as a lifestyle. He preached strategic opacity. There's a difference between lying, corrupting reality, and refusing access, protecting reality. Some people don't ask about your life because they care. They ask because they want to map your doors. Sun Tzu's method is spiritual hygiene. Stop letting everyone read your pages. Some folks are not readers. They are thieves with eyeballs. So you become untrackable. Speak less, move clean, keep your joy sacred, let results announce you. The fourth hidden law, terrain is a spell. In the camp they argued about hills and rivers. Sun Tzu's scroll said, terrain isn't land, it's advantage. So the scribe asked them, why do you keep meeting your enemy on their favorite ground? The room fell quiet, because everybody knew what he meant. Modern terrain spells, a toxic conversation at midnight, terrain, exhaustion. A debate with someone committed to misunderstanding, terrain, futility. A relationship where you're always proving your worth, terrain, hunger. A family table where truth gets punished, terrain, shame. Sun Tzu's hidden teaching is this: if you fight on cursed ground, you'll swear you're unlucky, when really you're just choosing the wrong battlefield. The fifth hidden law: victory is logistics. Everybody wants the epic sword scene. Sun Tzu loved the boring stuff: food, morale, supply lines, rest, training, order. Because he understood the most occult truth of all: the spirit can't stay brave in a body that's depleted. So the scribe looked at the generals and said, open quote, "Your troops aren't scared, they're hungry. Your people aren't disloyal, they're exhausted." Close quote. And the commanders realized they had been demanding miracles from empty stomachs. A lot of spiritual warfare is actually untreated fatigue, unmanaged stress, and people trying to win battles without oxygen. Rest is not laziness. Rest is supply. The sixth hidden law: the general is the weather. Sun Tzu taught that leadership shapes outcomes. The scribe made it plain, open quote, "A panicked leader creates panicked reality," close quote. If the general is impulsive, the army becomes impulsive. If the general is vain, the army becomes fragile. If the general is cruel, the army becomes quietly resentful and eventually collapses from the inside. So the generals asked the scribe, "What is the strongest army?" And he said, "The one that trusts its leader's nervous system." Who? Collective. That one is not cute. That one is holy. The seventh hidden law: foreknowledge is a form of mercy. The young commander demanded, "Tell me the secret weapon." The scribe nodded and tapped the scroll once. Open quote, "Information." Close quote, "Not gossip, not paranoia, not stalking. Clarity. Who is loyal? Who is consistent? Who lies under pressure? What patterns repeat?" Sun Tzu's hidden mercy is this: when you study patterns, you stop being shocked by predictable behavior. And when you stop being shocked, you stop being easily manipulated. The enemy wasn't across the border that night. After the meeting, the young commander couldn't sleep. He unwrapped the scroll again, alone. And in the candlelight, he realized something terrifying. The scroll was not teaching him how to defeat the rival kingdom. It was teaching him how to defeat his own. Impatience, ego, hunger for validation, addiction to drama, need to be seen winning. He stared at the ink until it felt like the ink stared back. Then he understood the final gate. The greatest war is the one inside you, because it's the only one that follows you everywhere. Seal of the Scroll Collective: if you want to use Sun Tzu like a sacred blade, remember this: don't fight every fight. That's amateur hour. Don't announce your moves. That's free intelligence. Don't battle on cursed terrain. Change the ground. Don't confuse emotion with strategy. Don't chase victory that costs your soul. Win clean. Win calm. Win in a way that still lets you recognize yourself afterward. Because the real flex is not domination, it's freedom.
Channeled by your architect musician, 36110, 27 Palms of Eyes. The Golden Whisperer, Sea Star, Devalan, Sea All. Apply the news you can use, truth and accuracy. The real non-bedazzled jewels.
To our beautiful collective, from our day ones to every new soul joining this journey, we love and appreciate you deeply. You've turned this space into so much more than a community. You've made it a family. Thank you, truly. Your presence, your energy, and even the smallest acts of kindness have the power to shift the compass for many in ways unseen but deeply felt. Here's to each of you, all new and the many more to come. We're just getting started, and we're so grateful you're here with us. With love and infinite appreciation from the collective of Shaman Ahll.
You only have to say nothing. I already know. I know.